Welcome back, Weather Kingdom. How is everybody doing on this Friday morning? We are going to be taking a look at quite a bit of stuff. We have a lot to take a place here. So just give me a second. We're going to be talking about some soundings and some very interesting information. I know
I
it's
beg
very
you, AI.
but we have a lot to talk about. So yes, this is my forecast. And I really didn't change anything from yesterday. I think this is kind of the same deal. I think we're kind of locked and loaded. There is some things I would like to talk about that we'll have to take a look at. So I'm just gonna. All right, just give me one moment, and we're gonna kind of talk a little bit about this event. All right, good. We can hear you. Good. That's good. Thank you. All right. Thank you for that. So I want to talk a little bit about here. All right. This is going to be a little bit of an update, a good update. So, you guys, this is my forecast. This is in the red. This is all the areas. So, I'm going to start out with the blue. All right. We're going to start out the blue. If you guys are in upstate New York, we're talking about Albany North. I think best chance for 3 to maybe like 6 inches. I think a solid up to maybe some lesser amounts on the northern end. I could have probably added a lighter blue here. I would say probably the best chance are 3 inches. The farther north you go, the less likely, more like a 1 to 2. So I want you guys to kind of. Okay, just give me a second. I want to fix this. All right, 1 second. What about now? Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? What about now? Hello, hello. Okay, good. Is it too much? All right, I just lowered it just a little bit. This is a brand new mic, so I'm trying to play with the volume a little bit. All right, good, 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 good. I hope you guys like that. All right, good. All right, good. I'm glad. Sorry if I sound a little sick. I am a little bit sick, you guys. I have a little cold. All right, we're going to get this started here, you guys. All right, so I'm going to basically say this. We're going to start out the blue, then go to the red, and kind of go in this way. So if you guys are in upstate New York, Albany on North, I think the best chance for 3 inches will happen. I think this is going to be for Springfield, Massachusetts. I think the southern part of Massachusetts, where I'm thinking a 1 to 3, maybe closer to the red. If I had to say, if I had to divide this as say 1 to 3 and then maybe 3 to 6, I will kind of split it in half here, you guys. I will kind of go like this. I think this will be a very good call right here. So I say if you guys are on the northern side of this, okay, I would say right in here is the if I had to say, this will probably be 1 to 3 here. All right, this is my forecast. If I had to make a 1 to 3, it will be probably just north of this line. On the southern side, I will go with a 3 to 6. I think right in here is a 3 to 6. Right in here. It's going to be the southern part. In the red, I think your best chance in this red color, I think this is your best chance for 6 plus. All right. I think 6 plus inches are very likely. All right. This is going to be 6 plus if you guys are in the red. I think that includes New York City. It's going to be a little bit hard to accumulate the snow right away on New York because how the infrastructure is and everything. But I do think we're going to be talking about some pretty good stuff here going into the next 24 hours. How's the mic? How's the mic, everybody? How's the stream? How's the stream? I want to. All right, let's get some more people in here. Let's get some more people in here, you guys. Let's do it. I think this is going to be a very important thing. I think 6 plus inches right in there. All right. If you guys are along this other blue, like I said, I think 3 to 6. I think right in here, I personally think is a 3 to 6 inch event. I would say right across here. If you guys are across this blue, I think 3 to 6. All right. Is your snowfall. Okay. The blue, I think for 3 to 6. Honestly. This whole blue, by the way, not just half of it. I think further south you get to it, probably a little bit less. I think if you guys are in the purple, if I had to make another color chart here, I would say probably right in here would be I would say 1 to yeah, I would have to say 1 to 3. 1 to 3 inches. I think 1 to 3 in this purplish that goes right into central PA, right in here. But I think you get more of that sleet. So that's included some sleet, freezing rain. I think about 0 to about a tenth to maybe even 2/10 of an inch of freezing rain right in here. Okay. And then I think in your last part here, this whole entire area is probably just a coating to an inch. I think just a coating. I don't see anything major here. I say probably an inch. Right in this brighter pink, everyone maybe like a coating to an inch or less. I don't think you're going to get too much accumulations through there. But I do think we have a pretty big winter storm on the way. All right, that's my forecast. I'm going to restate the forecast a little bit later. But now we're going to get out of this and kind of go into some of the model data because we got some interesting data. All right. We're going to go right in here. Just give me a second. I'm really trying to see how this all goes out. One second. If you guys are new to the channel, please like, please subscribe. That would be very great for a video update. All right. How is everybody doing? How is everyone? How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's enjoying the stream. We're going to be really here for the next about an hour or two, I think, of really just talking about this information here. It's going to be very interesting stuff. I have a lot to say about all this. We're going to look at some soundings like for New York, Philly, Lehigh Valley, Mount Pocono. We're going to go into Trenton. We're going to just do a lot of soundings and stuff. We're going to really... All right. All right, one second. I'm just getting everything all set up. If you guys are new to the channel, please like, please subscribe. We're going to be talking about this in the next couple hours, looking at the latest model run data and all that fun stuff. So just hold in here with me, you guys. We have to just do that together. All right, one second. We have a lot to talk about. So let's get it right in here. So if we're across here, I think this is a little bit, I think this is going to be a little bit more, you guys. Her model has really turned into a bit more of a freezing rain event, too. I think this is going to be more of an ice event in some areas because, look, I'm actually going to show you guys a little bit of the radar here. If we're looking at the radar, no. Look at this. We got some interesting data here. Very interesting. We're getting some moisture. It's not crazy here, but if you guys are across these regions, it's probably starting to flurry now across these regions. All right. And the darker greens is where it's probably starting to snow a little bit better. Okay. I think this is going to be very interesting. If we look at the snow, look at that. Some heavier snow, especially across here. We're talking about some heavier precip back into Erie, too. A good thump of snow, actually, believe it or not. This is probably some wintry mix here. Back in Erie. A wintry mix on the radar. Some heavy precipitation. I'm actually was wanting to look at this. Just give me 1 second, everybody. I'm just looking at... I want to look at a camera quickly. All right, 1 second. Right in here. That's going to be very interesting. Remember, the greens are more of the precip. That's going to be very interesting. I really do think. Look at the latest her, you guys. The latest her is at 14Z. It likes the idea where it is a little bit interesting. We already got more precip going on than the her is saying. So we got maybe a little bit. It's going to moisten the atmosphere a little bit quicker. So I think we're going to be talking about some quicker totals than expected. I think already it's going to overperform just a little bit in some of the lower end totals. My humidity is at 46. It was at 42 earlier, so it's slowly going up. And throughout the morning, I do think that's going to go up. But you get that thumping of snow in the beginning. I think this is going to start a little bit earlier. But you guys, I want you guys to take a look at it. Yes, we do got the sleet and wintry mix right in here. But what's really worrying me is, look at this. We got a major freezing rain set up. Really starting to show back in the Western PA. This is some moderate to heavy freezing rain here across central Pennsylvania. What makes this even worse, it's not like it's freezing rain and 32 degrees. All right. These temperatures back in here are about in the 20s, upper 20s. So this is going to be sticking to everything. It's not going to be like it's going to be 32 and some areas it's sticking to the trees and the roads are not. This is going to be a major ice storm. Good accumulations out of the ice. And we do see the herd with the wintry mix, starting out some snow. But look at this freezing rain in this prolonged event. This has kind of changed a little bit, according to the herd. Yes, it brings that thumping of snow, but look at that. You're talking about even up to the Lehigh Valley, potentially, some freezing rain. Look at all this freezing rain in the mix of the wintry mix. This tells me we're going to be raining at temperatures very cold. We're talking about temperatures farther here in the mid-20s. All right, mid to lower 20s. And if that's freezing rain, you're talking about some significant accumulations, even with just a drizzle of that. So I don't think it's going to be this far north. But where it does, it's going to be very important. But then you see that thumping of snow. Once again, stay more of a snow event. And then you see it ending with some freezing drizzle, maybe even some snow. On this latest her model, it says a full-out ice event, too. I mean, you're talking about western Pennsylvania here. About a half an inch. And even into the mountains, maybe up to almost an inch of ice. That's going to be some major issues. Even in central Pennsylvania, you're looking at a quarter. Eastern Pennsylvania, you're looking at 1/10 of an inch, maybe 2/10 of an inch. The model could be going a little bit under, but I think a little bit more is possible. Total snow accumulations here is very important. This is going to be a 10-to-1 ratio. And this, but look at this. You're talking about, I think this is going to be a little bit more south, but you're talking about a general area up to 3 to 6 inches up in here. I think this could be a little bit more farther south, but I think someone's going to get a jackpot up to a foot of snow. All right. I think that's going to be very possible. And I think 1 to 2 inches, 1 to 3 inches of sleet is very possible also. If anyone has questions, please leave them down below. We're going to be answering that here in this update. But look at this. 12Z. Boom. Look at all that freezing rain. That is worrying to me, what I'm seeing. A bit of freezing rain, even up in here. I think we're going to have a bit of a freezing rain factor, too. I think this is becoming a little bit more of a freezing rain than a sleet in the latest runs. A little bit worrying. This is the latest 12Z. It says that thump of snow and then that wintry mix. But what it does also, it moves that line. You know, yeah, it might start out like up in here, but it actually moves the line as the precip gets heavier more back. That tells me that there is cold air damming. That tells me you could be snowing very heavy, then a wintry mix, and then back to heavy snow, back to freezing rain if you're along that line. All right, and this really shows that, but it also shows less of a wintry mix and more of a freezing rain event in the latest runs. And it likes to say, up to, the Lehigh Valley, you're looking at 1/10 of an inch of ice. Even up in here in the latest model. This has gone up quite a bit. And then back in here up to almost an inch of ice. That's going to be very interesting. your total snowfall here on this, look, I think this could be a little bit more, but where that thumping of snow is, you're looking at potentially 3 to 6 inches. The model data is showing about 4 or 5 inches. That's why I think 3 to 6 is very possible in this area. Really depending on how that humidity continues to work and fix itself. In there. This is just one model. The latest NAM, I know I haven't been showing it because it's been doing a pretty bad job, but even the NAM is coming into reality. Likes that dumping of snow now. I want you guys to show this from yesterday. Look at where the snow was. All the way up in upstate New York. This is why I wasn't showing the NAM, because it was way too north. Look at the 12Z. It brought it back quite a bit. Saying that dumping of snow, wintry mix, and that freezing rain too, and that ending off with snow. I still think it's way too north. I think this is the outrageously north, but I think the name is coming into reality just a little bit. All right. The European. Okay, this is going to be a good Euro model here. I want you guys to see the European here. The 60. It likes the idea of a thumping of snow across eastern Pennsylvania. And then boom. Bit of a freezing rain event too. Back in central PA, parts of eastern. This purple right here is sleet. Sleet in a wintry mix. But look at all this pink. I'm really worried about this freezing rain too. And then that freezing rain really comes along here. This could be a big ice event. Also, I think the models are really picking up on that now. And then ending off with snow. Okay. I think that's going to be a very interesting. I'm really keeping an eye. It's more like nowcasting type situation here with the model data. This is the GFS. Likes to thump of snow and then that sleet freezing rain. But I mean, look at the freezing rain also. It has actually gone more north too. We're talking about now to maybe 1/10 of an inch in the Lehigh Valley. So some of this this slate storm has kind of turned more into a freezing rain. And that's actually worse. That means worse accumulations, and that means more of an issue across eastern Pennsylvania. I think that's going to be a big issue there. The latest humidity is now at 47 in my area. So that's telling me the atmosphere's starting to get moist. It's only 11 o'clock, and the storm on radar is really beginning to build into a pretty good winter storm. Good frontal end snow, and this is not even the main snow. So I think this is going to be a big snow event, too. This is going to be a big winter storm, you guys. I'm going to be honest here. Total courage, any little movement to the south. I mean, look, you're talking New York getting up to 5+ inches. Just north of it, 12 inches. Some of these spots could get up to a foot. Just in the Lehigh Valley, it says about 3 to 6 inches. Just north of that is about 9 inches. So this is going to be a close gradient where some of these areas might bust. Some of these areas might boom. Okay, I think that's going to be the hard part of today's forecast. And even the Euro in the 60, even in moving north, says 3 to 6 inches across the Lehigh Valley, New York. I mean, I think this is a little bit too far north with the latest data I'm getting. But look at the 60. It had it like that. 12Z, actually 12Z was like this. It really likes that thumping of snow. I think this could be a very close call. Her model says 3 to 6. Just north of there, more like 8 to 10. So I think this is going to be a very close call. Does anyone have any questions right now as I'm taking a look at some of this data? I'm going to look at some soundings here. We're going to go from we're going to really try and look at some of these soundings here. So I want you guys to take a look at what a sounding is about in here in the freezing rain. So this is pretty much a freezing rain. So this is about 700 millibars, right? You are around 32 degrees. Remember, this is the threshold. All back in here is, I'm actually going to make it a little bit lower. So we're going to kind of draw this out just a bit. So I'm not too good at the line, but Look at that. That's the lining of the freezing rain with the sound. I'm gonna teach you how to do it because I've been learning how to do it myself. So this is a sounding. I hate 7 to 800 millibars with the freezing rain goes into about 34 degrees temperatures up in the 800 millibar. But look how this comes right back into the threshold at 900 feet. And then it actually goes back to the freezing line. All right. That tells me at the surface, it is below 30. But up in the atmosphere, it turns to rain. So when it falls down, you're looking at a profile of freezing rain. So this is a profile of freezing rain. All right. Out of her. And this is some very cold freezing rain. Okay. Very interesting stuff. Now I want to teach you how to do a sleet sounding. Okay. This should be a sleet sounding. Yeah, the sleet sounding here. So this is a pretty good sleet sounding right in here. I'm going to remake the lining once again. Right in here. Look at that. So instead of it going all the way here, you're looking at them turning ice pellets. You're talking about, in this scenario, the sleet, all these lines go into that 32-degree line. Maybe one or two about 32 and a half. All right. That's right at making ice pellets. Okay. And then it quickly goes back in here. So it might melt a little bit the snowflake, and then it immediately ices back up dramatically. And you're looking at 28. And then it tries to do this. But this is a sleet sounding. This could even be in a mix of some freezing rain also in this sounding. I did make it a little bit big. I'm trying to teach you just a little bit. And then if you guys know what a snow sounding should be, let me try and go in here. Snow. Yeah, this is a snow sounding right in here. This is your lining right in here, you guys. Sorry. It's a little bit off. Let me remake that. Boom. And this snow sounding, this is a snow sounding, okay? I want to show you guys this a little bit. Look at the 800 millibar and 700 millibars. We don't even touch 32. It stays in about 28, 29 degrees. Okay? Maybe even 30 degrees. In all of the profile of the atmosphere, it stays well below 30. It stays below 32. It tries, but at the surface is 29. This tells me it is snowing. Not crazy heavy, but it's snowing. Pretty steady here. And I'm just trying to show you guys all the soundings. And I'm going to make maybe a little bit of a video of how to read a sounding here. I think this is going to be very interesting of an event here. Of an event, okay? I think that's going to be a very great event. Let me look at the icon quickly. The icon says a little bit more snowier. It develops that band a little bit more south into New York. It's still in Connecticut. Kind of separates the band, a little bit more snow. And then that kind of comes in there. Okay? It's not the best snowfall, but look at that. It's actually quite a bit more south. You're now talking, instead of upstate New York seeing that, look, you're pushing it now into about the Scranton area. Into northern PA, about up to 10 inches. I think that's going to be a common theme throughout today. I think the snowfall forecast is going to move in each HER model, I think, a little bit more south. We're speaking of the HER, we're getting a brand new sounding here. And this is showing it's starting to pick it up too. A little bit developed faster of the sleet and freezing rain. It shows even more freezing rain and heavier freezing rain. So that's why I think it's going to be a very interesting day across the Lehigh Valley. All right, this is gonna be a little bit interesting. I'm gonna be taking a break here in a few minutes. All right, I'm really I need to blow my nose and stuff. But look at this. Look at that freezing rain. A little bit heavier on this one. It's a very interesting. Yeah, the snow is a little bit more impactful. See how the snow is a little bit more out ahead of it now? I think that's going to be a common theme. More moving that heavier snow bands to the south. But you guys, I'm going to be taking a break here. I will be back around 11:10. So if you have any questions, put it in the comments now. And then when I come back, I'll answer them. Thank you. All right, I'm back. I thought it would be about a little bit more. I just said 11:10. But does anyone have any questions? Okay. I'm really trying to answer some questions here. We're watching the newest model. I just want to give you guys an update in my area. My humidity earlier was about 41, 42. We are now at 48. Before the last time I told you it was 47. So it's slowly going up. And I want to see how quickly that goes up. That could moisten the atmosphere a little bit. And I think that's going to continue to be the process here. Yeah, a little bit more snowier from the 14Z to the 15Z. Everything's a little bit more south. The heavier bands are more to the south. So I'm very interested on how this is going to play out, okay? I need to, yeah, look at that. Wow. Look at that. You're looking a little bit more snowier and the low a little bit closer to each other. Very interesting stuff here. All right. We also got some new model data that's going to be coming out. I know GFS is about to be coming out. Oh, it's out. Oh, I did not even realize that. I hope I did. Okay, so GFS is more... Okay. I want to look at the latest GFS. Did I even look at the GFS? Okay. So GFS stays warmer. It stays that dumping of snow and then that freezing. Okay. So the GFS also stays a bit of ice too. About 1/10 of an inch, but total courage. Wow, it moved it pretty far north. Yeah, it moved it a little bit farther north. I don't know about that. That's why I want to nowcast. Well, nowcast this thing here with each run of the. Oh, look at that freezing rain. That's really worrying me. Look at the 14Z of the sleet here, and then look at the latest one. All freezing rain. This tells me more freezing rain. It's more of an ice storm on the latest instead of a wintry mix. Showing more of an ice storm, like I said, is a little bit of the worries. I'm very interested, you guys. What's going to happen here? Does anyone have any questions? I'm trying to answer any questions that comes about across these areas. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Okay, I'm very interested. I'm going to leave the satellite up. All right, I'm going to leave quickly. And I'm going to go... Okay, so I'm going to kind of leave that up. Nah. What do you guys want up? The radar or what? I want to show you guys a few screens here. Why is that there? I'm going to set it up here because it's going to be very interesting of a radar. I don't care about that. Okay, these stupid advertisement type deals. Look at that. All right, I'm going to go mute. You guys, I will be back. Right in here. Okay, I'm back for a little bit. I'm not leaving just yet. I have to, start up the car. But I want to talk a little bit. Look at this future radar, you guys. When that something of snow happens, it's going to be heavy. All right? So, look at that next storm, too. We got a big storm coming up. 971 millibar. The Arctic outbreak. And then, boom. A little bit of a snow event there. Look at that Arctic outbreak in the future. Not good. But I do want to say a little bit here. As we are continuing to look at the HER model. Look at that. Stays the sleet. And then, boom. A heavy thumping of snow once again. I want you guys to look at that. Heavy thumping of snow. Now look at the latest snowfall. From last one to now, look. It pushed a little bit more into PA. All right. All right. Very interesting there. Very interested in the radar, too. We're getting into some heavier banding of snow. I really like the banding out of this on the northern part. Look at some of this heavy banding of snow across here. We're going to be talking about some crazy snowfall rates later on. Very heavy snowfall rates in this storm. Good banding here, but I don't know how long that stays, okay? I'm at 48 of a humidity. I don't know. But I'm going to be back in like 20, okay? All right, I am back here for a few more minutes. I'm gonna kind of keep the stream going on throughout the day. We're gonna just see how it goes, you guys. I hope everybody's having a great day so far. And this is the latest GFS. I am telling you guys, we are on the burst of a very cold January, likely. Okay. This is the latest radar. Looking great. The storm is continuing to intensify. We're getting into some of this snow down here is not falling just yet. What's probably really falling is up in Buffalo right now. We're probably dealing with some pretty heavy snow bands. These are some of the snow bands we are talking about. And these snow bands are expected to keep moving to the south. So these snow bands is where these are going to be developing right in here. Look at that. These are going to be some of the heavier snow bands that's going to come into the Lehigh Valley later and parts of the southern Lehigh Valley. We already got this storm is already starting out to look pretty good here. I just want to take a quick look at the Buffalo, New York live cam. I cannot show it on the camera here. I wish I could. I just want to see if it's snowing pretty heavy or what's going on up there because I guarantee you there's some nasty banding up there. Yeah, it's snowing in Buffalo, that's for sure. Yeah, it's snowing in Buffalo right now here. Pretty good right now. This should continue to intensify. I do think by 1 p.m. this snow continues. It's looking like the future radar starting to catch up. That frontal end. This is by 4 o'clock. Look at that. That's some real heavy snow. I do see in some very heavy freezing rain. This is by 5. And we are really cooking it in here. This 5:30. I mean, look at this. Some pretty heavy snow bands. You're gonna be talking about a few hours of really thumping snow here across the Allentown, probably into Philly, Reading, Scranton. It's looking pretty good there. We're gonna have to continue to keep an eye. Long time no see. Nice to see you, Curdy. Nice to see you. I'm kind of gonna be live most of the day here. We're just kind of doing a bit of a live forecast. Oh wow, look at that. This is the latest her model, and I'm really interested on the 16Z when we look at it. This is the latest her, and it sees the snowfall a little bit more south and that thumping of snow. It shows a lot of freezing rain too. You're looking at a general up to a tenth of an inch of ice on top of it. But look at the total courage here. You're bringing your heavier totals to the south here. It's not crazy from the last one, but look. 14Z, look at where this was, just in northern there. And then look at the latest. It moved it quite a bit. So I want to see the latest one tonight, how this continues to play out. But where the bullseye is where you're going to get the 13 plus inches of snow, I think. It's going to be very interesting, you guys. I'm telling you, what an interesting event that's going to be taking place here. this is where I'm going to leave here. I'm going to leave the radar. Very interested on what's going to happen here. Radar is looking pretty good here across some of these areas. I'm at a humidity of now 47, so it went down one. Oh, come on. So they did put a discussion here of freezing rain here for the next 5 hours. They say a wintry mix eventually transition to a primary of a light to moderate freezing rain will spread southeast through the afternoon into the northwest and central PA and New York, into western New York. Recent MPing reports and ASO and the AWS observed are beginning to show areas of light freezing rain and sleet spreading from far northeast Ohio to the northwest PA and western New York in the last 1 to 2 hours. Although the regional 12Z sounding sample stout dry layer from the surface about 3 km, the recent sleet and freezing rain reports indicate uh, the preceding precipitation has allowed for a current to saturate in the mid levels to low levels, allowing hydrometers to reach the surface. Consequently, surface sleet and rain amounts will likely increase through the afternoon with a more widespread precipitation tending to the mid levels currently upstream across Michigan overspreading the region. Correlation coefficient imagery of the radars here sampling a melting layer between 4 to 8 KFT ARL over the central bay, which should maintain through the afternoon, increasing warm advection about the 925 to 850 millibar near the surface, weak thermal advection below. This should sub-freezing temperature support freezing rain hydro, and although mixing is expected over the next couple hours, changing to mildly freezing rain anticipated upwards of zero. These are some freezing rain rates up to 0.05, so almost a half a tenth of an inch to 0.1 inch an hour will be possible. So some, especially under heavier precipitation bands and where the precipitation rates are locally enhanced by weak convection proceeds. So it's a discussion about the freezing rain, something we should continue to keep a watch out for. They did actually extend it into now the mountains here of freezing rain. They're extending some of these freezing rain weather alerts. If you guys are in the winter storm warnings, best chance for 4 to 6 plus. They have New York City as of right now about 4 to 8 inches. I cannot completely disagree on that either. um, Precipitation getting a little bit heavier. I'm really interested when that burst of snow happens. It's going to be very interesting. All right. I'm going to be back in about a few minutes. All right. I'll be back in like 20 minutes. See you guys. All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great. Sorry about the refresh. I did not mean for that to happen, but we got some things to look at here. We got a winter storm developing pretty rapidly here. If you guys are new to the channel, please like, please subscribe. We are back. Tell everyone right now. All right, we are back here. All right. Sorry about the wait, you guys. I know you guys been holding off quite a bit. This is the latest radar. Looking great. We got some new runs here of the 16Z now of the her model, and I'm very interested in what's going to happen here. This is the latest her model, and look at that. A little bit more snow and a little bit more of that frontal end of that freezing rain burst of snow, I think is really likely. I think this is setting up very well because look at this. Where the her model has it, where it's setting up, this is going to be the heavy burst of snow. It's going to be in this line right in here is where the real heavy snow is going to be coming in. Okay? Right in that darker blue. But you can also see some darker blues really starting to show up now on the Bloomberg area where we're seeing some of the heavier bands. And these bands are continuing to widespread. Okay? I know it's been a little bit. I know we are continuing to watch this. But I'm very interested, okay? I'm very interested on the radar here. The bands are developing pretty nicely. And this is by 1 o'clock. This is how it should look. Some of the snow ain't making it to the ground. This is by 3 o'clock. That snow is really starting to look good. And then this is by 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock. It is snowing very heavy in this frontal end band. I think this is going to be a great burst going into the region here. This is by 5. This is by 5:30. Look at that. Very heavy snow. 6 o'clock, still heavy snow. And this is about 6:34. You're talking about these regions here of very heavy banding of snow. And when I mean heavy banding, I'm talking about this type of snow. We're talking about this heavy snow bands here continuing to spread. And I think that's going to be the reality here of the heavy banding of snow, and I think this is going to continue to moisten the atmosphere if you guys are new to the channel. All right. This is the latest her model. It likes the idea of that frontal end, changes over to some snow. Look at that, some very heavy banding of snow. The freezing rain accumulation